Hey, what's going on, Washington football addicts? Welcome back to another episode. Tonight we are live in the Facebook group. We are live on YouTube. We hope to get
Live, baby.
some of y'all in here and get some questions going. We got a special guest tonight, but before we introduce him, like we always do, we are going to go ahead and dedicate this episode through my man Phil and kick it off. Phil, let's go.
All right, episode 77. We're going to dedicate this to Trey Johnson, Pro Bowl right guard for us through the 90s. He was with the team. He was drafted second round of the 1994 draft, and pretty much after his rookie season, was plugged in as a starter and stayed there through the 2000 season. Injuries cut short his 2000 season, so he was like, oh, he finished off his career. Or actually, he did a year in Cleveland, came back to Washington in 02 for a season, and only started 3 games. However, in his prime, was a beast of a right guard. Trey Johnson was one of the reasons why you saw Terry Allen and Stephen Davis both set single season rushing records. He was a big dude too. He was 6'2", so he was short, but he was 328 pounds, but one of the fastest linemen in the league. And he could do that guard pull like nobody's business. And that's how you saw a lot of those trap plays and a lot of those counter gaps, counter trays that we used to run under Gibbs. We ran those with Norv Turner, and we had a lot of success, both with Davis and Terry Allen as our running backs. So shout out to Trey Johnson. I actually wore 77 in high school as an offensive tackle and a defensive tackle because I loved Trey Johnson. And that was, of the available numbers, 77 was there. I grabbed that one because I was like, that's my man. Special consideration goes to Darryl Grant as well. Darryl Grant was defensive tackle for Washington from 1981 to 1990. Most people know him for one play, and that was catching that deflected pass in the 82 NFC Championship game that put us ahead 27-17. And that was, 24-17 when we beat Dallas in that game. If everybody remembers that play, it was a 10-yard interception return. It's one of the most iconic plays in Washington football history. And that was Darryl Grant that caught that interception off the tip pass. And if you've never seen that play, I don't know what rock you've been living under, but special consideration to Darryl Grant as well. He was a 77 as well. And so that's a number that's carried some weight in fairly recent team history if you want to go back the last 40 years. So 77, Darryl Grant and Trey Johnson, my man.
There we go. There we go. All right. Well, tonight I'm your host, Steve, my boy Phil, my co-host, and we also like to welcome a special member. I know him as Scooter in the DC area. He's got his name up there as Chop Chop. Welcome to the show, my brother. How you doing?
Fine, and you? How you doing, man?
Hey, good, man. Hey, thank you for having us. And to everyone who's gonna watch this or is watching it now, I know people still getting in the room. We brought you want me to call you Scooter? You want me to call you Chop Chop? Which one we call tonight?
My band name is Chop Chop.
Chop Chop. Okay.
In the band.
There we go. We're gonna call you Chop Chop tonight. So I didn't know y'all had band names, so that's what's up.
Mine is different because I used to make steak and cheese at every game. And when you get to chopping with the blades, they call it.
Yeah.
One of the drummers called me Chop Chop, and it stuck.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool, man. So, I saw you post a couple of things on Facebook a couple of weeks ago about the band. The band's been around since 1937. It's been a historic piece of this team, just like the colors, the name, everything. So I was like, we had to get you on here to at least talk to us and give us the lowdown dirty on what people are telling you and what you are hearing. But before we do that, let's get to know you a little bit. So what is your fan story? Like all of us, we have our own stories of how we became fans of this team in DC, but how did you personally become a fan of this team?
Okay, well, I've been a fan of the team since I was younger. And one day, it was close to my birthday in October of 87, I believe. I asked my father, said I want to go to the Redskins game. And my father's handicapped, so he couldn't take me. So he gave me the money because I called to the box office and said, "Oh yeah, we have tickets," which was a lie. They didn't have any tickets. So my father gave me some money. I went down to the stadium, couldn't find a ticket. Right. So here I am walking around the stadium, trying to get in, and this is the Redskins versus the Cowboys game,
Mm.
where Daryl Green had to come in and play mop up because they were beating Dallas so bad. I think the final score was 42-17. But
Damn.
anyway, I'm trying to get in RK Stadium. I'm asking the people that give $50, would you let me in? They say no, no, no. So finally, two Dallas fans left because Dallas was getting pummeled, and they gave me a ticket, but I still couldn't get in. So in third quarter, the people that was guarding the gates, they were gone. So I snuck in the stadium, and I ran as fast as I could, and I went into the landing, and the first thing I saw was Daryl Green. I mean, I'm sorry, not Daryl Green. Was Doug Williams throwing a touchdown pass to who I thought was Art Monk, but it wasn't Art Monk. I think it was Muhammad. Used to play with the Redskins back in. Sorry about that. He used to play with the Redskins back in the day, Calvin Muhammad.
Yeah.
And at that point, the place went wild as a touchdown. You hear the band, and then the crowd went wild singing "Hail to the Redskins." So that Monday, I played violin at the time. I went back to school, and my teacher said, "Let's get your violin out." I said, "I don't want to play violin anymore." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because you can't play violin in the Redskins marching band." And so she went and got me a baritone. And I said, "What's that?" She said, "Well, this will let you play in the Redskins marching band." I said, "Okay." So that's how I started my Redskins journey. It was back in 86, 87 at that game. And I've always been a Redskins fan now.
That's what's up. That's a great story, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of segues to our next question with you. So you told us how you started picking up an instrument at a young age, started playing, but how did you actually get into the band? Was it audition? Did you know somebody? Like what was the process to become a band member?
Okay, the correct process is to audition. Every Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock. Well, not anymore, but every Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock. That's when the band meets up. We rehearse for 2 hours. You're supposed to sit in for a couple of practices, and then you officially audition. Well, I knew the band director because I was his auxiliary coordinator when he was at Northwestern High School in Hyattsville, Maryland. And I worked under him for like 2 years until he left to be principal. And one day, as a birthday present, a friend of mine took me to a game, and I ran into Mr. Summers. And I said, "Do you have any open spots?" He said, "Yeah, we have baritone." I said, "Okay." But the problem is, I hadn't played baritone since 8th grade. Throughout my high school and college years, I played tuba. And so I had to go find a tuba real quick. I had to go find a baritone real quick, and relearn how to play the baritone because I hadn't played it. And at that point, it probably would have been 15, 20 years.
Wow.
And I came to practice that Wednesday. I was suited up for that Sunday's game on the field, and the rest is history.
So,
That's
how,
20
and so
years
how
later.
long have you been a member of the team band?
I've been an official member for the last 21 years. I took 1 year off, and then COVID hit, and then this year. So I've been on. I still have my first ID badge from 2000, for the year 2000, when I first joined the band.
Okay. Damn, that's amazing. And then,
Yeah.
so y'all rehearsed once a week every Wednesday, or rehearsed once a week practice, and that's where the auditions were.
Yes, that's what the auditions were. Yes.
Wow. So, as a band member, do you have any, I guess, good stories you can tell us? What are some of your favorite stories as a band member? Something cool that, if you weren't a band member, that you probably would never
Well,
know.
being a band member, we walk in and out of the same tunnel as the actual Redskins players. So you never know who you walk into the stadium with. You can walk in there with Sean Taylor, Daryl Green, Doug Williams. You never know who you're gonna walk into the stadium with. And sometimes, they'll dap you up. And there was a period in time before the NFL put on stricter security precautions that we could bring our family into our locker room and they will meet players. Yeah, like my children met Sean Taylor. not too long before he died.
Mhm.
And my son was
wow.
like, he was like, before the game, before we got there, he was like, I want to meet Sean Taylor. I want to meet Sean Taylor. We meet Sean Taylor, and he's quiet. He doesn't know what to say. And Sean Taylor, that's one of the great things about being in the Redskins band is you walk in and out of the same tunnel as the players. You don't know who you're gonna meet, and most of the time, you don't say anything. Most of the time, they'll initiate contact with you because in the marching band we consider ourselves professional, and
Right.
it's not professional like, ooh, Stephen Davis, let me get your autograph. Nah, we don't really do that.
You want to?
You want to, but you really don't.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It almost did you ever feel like did you ever get that feeling that you see these players, these celebrities, these superstars, and I mean, did it ever get old for you doing it, or did you
No,
always have that sense of that's that guy, that's Dale Green, that's Stephen Davis?
no, it never gets old because I'm gonna tell you one of the coolest players to walk out of this tunnel with was Moss and Portis.
Mm.
It's been several times I'm walking out of the stadium with Moss, and he was like, "What's up, man?" And he'd dap me up. I was like, "Nothing." And coolest thing ever. They,
Hannah.
you see them on TV, and everybody like, "Oh, superstar," but they just regular people. They just regular people. Even after a loss, they will still be the same way.
Wow.
That's an experience nobody can have.
Yeah, that's one of the good things about being in the Redskins band is that you get to experience things nobody would like. Met Wale. He came in our dressing room. We have our own dressing room, which is right across from the visiting team's dressing room. The
Okay.
Redskins marching band, the men's locker room is right across from the visiting team locker room. So you'll see everybody. You'll see Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick, Tom Brady, and what's the DC kid played quarterback? Played for Pittsburgh and Jaguars. It's on my tip of the tongue. But you see,
Byron Leftwich?
yeah,
Byron
Leftwich.
Leftwich,
Yeah. Actually, one of the people in the Redskins marching band taught him in high school. Taught him.
Yeah.
And every
That's
time he used to come to the stadium, he used to look for him just to say hi and say thank you to him.
Yeah. That's what's up. He went to Marshall, I think, right? Didn't he go to Marshall?
Yeah, he went to
yeah,
Marshall.
he went to Marshall.
Marshall. Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I thought. Yeah, same place as didn't Randy Moss go to Marshall too?
Randy Moss, Chad
Yeah.
Pennington. They have a few people come out of Marshall.
That's right. It didn't show it in the comments, but Justin Sawyer on Facebook appreciated it. He was the one that said to you. That's why I throw up to you when you said Tana. You said Tana and Taylor and Clinton. So those are the bad boys of that college time frame, and they all made their team way to Washington. It's just cool that you could be a part of that. And we had our third co-host Dev finally join it up, and Dev, we're joined by Chop Chop, a boy of mine from the DC area, member of the team band. So where you at right now? So where do you don't got to where you live at, but you live in DC. You live on the southeast side. Where you live at?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, and I live in Clinton.
Okay, you're in Clinton. Okay, yeah, I'm in Silver Spring. Phil's down in Southern Virginia, and Dev's all the way out in Kentucky. But we're all fans of the team.
Kentucky in the house. Okay.
If Rod was here,
you're muted.
You're muted, Dev.
You're muted, Dev. So when did y'all rally before games? Like when did they make y'all? Did y'all meet up in the parking lot? When did y'all have to be there? How soon before a game did y'all have to get together? Okay,
interesting you should say that. Okay, game day for us in the marching band starts at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oof.
You have to. That's because if you're very serious about it, you have to load your car up, get everything ready. Normally, before they took our parking away from us, we used to be in the Orange parking lot, right adjacent to the tunnels, and so we used to gather there before and after games, and we would be in the parking lot 2 hours before the 3 or 4 hours before the game because we have to be in at game starts at 11. At 1 we got to be there at 11. We have to be in the locker room at 11. So that means we were there at 9 o'clock in the morning in the parking lot, tailgating, talking crap, eating, drinking, having fun. And at one point, we had the largest tailgate in FedEx.
Wow.
The band was allotted, I want to say, 80 parking spots at one time,
Uh,
and then we just had row after row after row, and anybody who knew anybody in the band can go from car to car to car, eating whatever they wanted from anybody, and didn't have to worry about or pay for anything. That was until they took out parking. Once they took out parking, they limited us to, I think it was 15 parking spots, and that greatly affected our tailgate.
so when did they take your parking? What year was that? I want to equate who was in the leadership of the team at the time.
I want to say around 2012, 2011, 2012 was when they took out parking.
When did
they made us walk from the employee parking lot?
Yeah, Bruce Allen. That's all I was trying to get
We're gonna tell Julie about that shit.
Yeah. And they made us. We had to walk from the gray lot down at the bottom of the hill all the way up. And you're talking about getting up early in the morning to get there on time. You have to walk up. They give you the employee shuttle, but the employee shuttle is always full.
Yeah.
So you walk all the way up to the stadium, get ready, do the march around.
With are your instruments already there, or you got to carry your instruments with you?
The only instruments that are there are the percussion and the sousaphones. Okay. Those are the only instruments that are owned by the Washington Redskins. Everyone else provides their own instrument.
What did you play? I might probably miss that, obviously, but
I played baritone for my first 4 years. In the last 16 years, I was on the back row in the sousaphone line. We call ourselves the back row.
What's that like? Like, what's it like trying to be a part of that team? The reason I ask, I've let these guys know I have my girlfriend has a 6 foot tall, 343-year-old, 12-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
He plays zero football, man. It's irritating, but he loves band. He plays he's been picking up the drums, but he plays some big saxophone. I don't know what it's called, man. I think it's a tuba or something like that. I don't know. He plays something big.
Okay, tubas are big.
A big shout out to Protect Sports on YouTube. What's good, bro? Thanks for joining us on the live stream.
I'm trying to get him. If he's going to not play football and be in a band, I want to see him be in the band. You know what I'm saying? Do it for real.
It's a lot of money in bands. I'm gonna tell you.
Right.
I got my musical prowess from my mother. My mother instilled in me at a very young age, you're going to play an instrument.
I mean, bands will make a dance, though. You know the song?
Huh?
You know bands will make a dance. You know the song?
No. Hey. Well, I put that into my children, and I have a daughter who just auditioned for Bowie State, and I have another one that goes to Morgan State. And of my 6 kids, 5 of them played instruments.
That's dope.
So it was in it from an early age, and it's a lot of money. You may not be able to get a $1 million contract, but if you pick up that horn and you learn it and you can audition on it, there's colleges out here that will give you a full ride, and over your lifetime, that's like getting a big time contract because you get a college degree and you can go get you a job doing it anywhere. Big corporations make a lot of money all because of an instrument. Right. So if he's playing it, keep him on it. Especially if it's a sousaphone.
I'm trying to get him in football, man, but it's a lost cause. It's a lost cause.
If he does, I'm gonna tell you right now, whether it be band, football, soccer, basketball, if it's not in their heart, they're not gonna do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So if he's into that music, let him stay into the music.
I went to FAMU for a semester till I got kicked out, and the band is real big there, man.
Yeah, the 100, yeah. FAMU, yeah. We have it's a lot. Actually, I think it's like probably 12, 13 members from FAMU in the Redskins marching band.
Really?
And the band was full volunteer, right? No,
we didn't get paid.
Monetary. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't get paid. We got 2 tickets to every game. And depending on the season, those tickets weren't worth the paper they were written on. But yeah, we did not get paid. But one of the things that came out in the letter that if they was to bring the band back, which they seriously doubt, that it will go to a paid format, just like the cheerleaders. The cheerleaders got paid. We didn't get paid.
I'm trying to I got a daughter that's going to Arizona University cheerleading. She'll be a freshman. She got a full ride. I'm trying to get her to try out for Washington when she gets out of that stuff, man.
But I don't know, but because they changed the format of the cheerleader of well, they're dancers now. They're not even a cheerleader.
She's on the Arizona cheerleading and dance team. They're all inclusive there, so she's on both.
Okay, so there you go.
But yeah, I'm trying to get her to do it, man. But I think she's she's teetering 6 foot. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder if she's gonna be too tall to be a professional cheerleader. You know,
I don't believe in my whole time in the Redskins organization that I saw a cheerleader that tall.
right,
I mean, it
right.
could
I
be
thought
me, but
she switched
they're
from
generally on
cheering
the short side.
when she got real tall around her sophomore year of high school. She kind of
Hmm.
switched from cheerleading to dancing more, but she dances kind of she takes the professional type. She does like ballet and all kinds of other stuff. You know what I'm saying? But she's still
Okay.
getting a little too tall for that. But I'm not giving up hope that my soon to be probably stepson will play some football, man. But because he's just like he's way too big to be not playing. I'm like, man, this is
Hey, it's a lot of big
crazy.
tuba players out there, man. Go down. You say you live in Kentucky.
Yeah,
You go down in the SWAT country with Alabama State, Alabama A&M,
yeah,
Jackson State, Grambling. Yeah,
yeah, man. They
a lot of
here though.
money in tuba.
They just single foul. You know, it's like corny. You know, it ain't even
Well, it don't matter. They'll teach him. It don't matter. As long as he knows the music, everything else can be taught.
nice. I'm gonna tell them look y'all up, man.
So let me ask you this: How it seems like they dropped the band. They dropped the band out of nowhere. The
Yeah.
organization.
Boo.
And I mean, so did you have any inclination that this may be happening? Were there hints dropped along the way, or was this just one day they dropped the letter on you? Boom, done.
Okay, so what happened was in April we received a letter from our band manager, from our band leadership. Mr. Summers is the band director. Mr. Edward Green is the associate band director. Mr. Tony Cardenas is the band manager. That's our leadership tier. We received the email from that we receive every year, and this one said that basically there's new leadership in charge of Larry Michaels' job. And for right now, he doesn't know which direction they're taking the band. We're on hold. We're on standby. There was discussions about the new uniforms. One of our members even submitted new verbiage for Hail to the Redskins that could be adopted to any of the new names that are being circulated.
Really, was that nice?
I don't know because we didn't see it. It was only internal. We didn't see it. We didn't get that far. And then I don't know, it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, but probably about a week ago, we got a letter which I cannot find in my email. They probably called it because I do not delete emails and it's not in my email folder. Stating that basically, okay, the band has 3 gigs that we do every year, regardless, no matter what. That's 4th of July parade in Fairfax, Virginia. That is the Halloween parade in Fairfax, Virginia, and that is the Christmas parade in Manassas, Virginia. Those are the 3 things we do every year, without cause. That's what's on the calendar. It's coming. They may add in the Apple Blossom Parade in Winchester and another function here and there. Oh, and the Welcome Home Dinner. Those are the 3 things that we do every year. We haven't received our calendar, and then last week we got a letter stating that that the new director of guest experience, who is a guy he comes from Carnival Cruises. He's not local. He spent 13 years at Carnival Cruises as the guest director. Oh, Thunder Boomer. And basically he's shelving the band. He's keeping the percussion for now. And I guess depending on if people miss the band or not, then they're going to shelve the band entirely.
So you're talking about Joey? Joey,
whatever his name is, yeah.
I actually met with him because I got named as one of those fan ambassadors, part of the fan ambassador network, and that's who I actually had to do interview with was Joey, and he's director of guest experience or vice president of guest experience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay, just so some of these names get out there, so if anybody has been paying attention, now we know who's who and who's calling what shots.
Right.
So they basically shelved the band for this year. They don't know if it's going to come back. They're going to keep the percussion. And what I have a problem is this isn't just a band. And you're talking about game day experience. The Redskins marching band, we do a lot of stuff at the last minute for the organization. They can call us on Tuesday morning and say, look, we need 20 people down Redskins Park at 7 p.m. to play Hail to the Redskins. And what will happen? They'll put out an email, and by 7 o'clock, you'll have 25, 30 band members down Redskins Park to play Hail to the Redskins for 5 minutes, and then they'll say, okay, go home. And we didn't have a problem with it because that's what we do. We love to play our instruments. We love our organization. That's what we do.
That's right.
But if this goes on the way it is, we won't even get a goodbye party. There are members, including myself, who have done their 20 years and would not have received their 20-year ring. We wouldn't receive closure as an organization. It's just, bye, all right, get the hell. See you later.
Right.
And that's the part I think many of my bandmates have an issue with, is because over the last, I've been in 20 years, but there's some people have been in the band 47, 50 years. My line chief, he's been in the band almost since its inception. He's Don Bartlett is that old. So, and you're telling people like that no pomp and circumstance, see you. And that's what we had a problem with. And I also have an issue with the fact that if you are the vice president of guest experience, one of the best things about going to a Redskins game is seeing a marching band march around the stadium before the game starts. And the second thing is actually hearing Hail to the Redskins being played after a touchdown.
Man,
1937.
I haven't been
1937.
I haven't been to a Redskins game since I've been to when it was RFK. I went as a kid. My uncle, like as far as a home game, my uncle took me. He was in the military there, and that's the one thing I don't remember who won the game, who were playing. I remember like seeing Art Monk running through a tunnel, but the number one thing I remember was the band.
Yeah.
You know, and that made an impact on me. I'm 43 years old, man. You know, that made an impact on me. And that's why I asked you, because hell, yeah, you got your shirt that says big boy on it, big man on it, and you're a big guy playing in the in a band. That's why I was like, my son's a big dude. I'm like, man, that's something to look up to, man. I want him to have those kind of opportunities when he gets old enough to play in the band. That's a big thing, man. That really sucks, man. I've been asking about the band ever since last year. Like, man, what are they gonna do with the band? What are they gonna play? That's terrible, man.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Justin Sawyer. That's his comment. I got posted up there. It's not posted, but
who's in charge? Is that Julie or is that what's his face?
It's his name. Okay, Joey Colby Begovich.
Yeah, that's them. That's it.
Yeah, that's the guy. He actually was one of the interviews for the whole fan ambassador network as well.
We need to start bring back the band.
Well, I'll tell you what. This is where I can help out. Your boy here is not just a fan ambassador, but my specific area is in the culture and the history.
There you go.
One of the things that we talked about, myself and Joey specifically, was that what I would like to bring to the table is the idea of taking the history, taking the past, applying it to the present, so we can go to the future.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that needs to carry on, so we can have that tie to this franchise as we pivot to a new generation. And the band is one of those things because it's something that makes us unique.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It is something that makes this franchise unique. It makes the game day experience unique. So I am going to certainly, that when I heard this, that was one of the things that went right to the top of my list is we got to bring the band back. So when I get to have my sit down with them later this month, that's something I'm definitely going to bring up.
Right.
So
it sounds like we need to get some more details, and so Phil can take it to the team, because Chop, what do you know this? That they're meeting with all these ambassadors through different lenses, culture, social media, all these things. So their voice is kind of heard, which is the first time in forever. So It probably would be good to get your feedback. And Justin Sawyer commented once again, are we the only team with a band? The answer is no. There's one other team in the NFL with a marching band. Phil, it sounds like you know it. I know it. Do y'all,
Raiders.
y'all know
I don't know. Is it the Raiders? I'm guessing. I have no idea.
No.
It's not the
You know it?
I can't remember who
It's
it
gotta
is.
be the
I know.
Saints, yeah.
I know there was
It's
two
got to be the
teams.
Saints. It's got to be the Saints, right?
No, it's not the Saints.
Oh, yeah. When the Saints go
It's
marching
the
in,
Chiefs, right?
No, it's not the Chiefs.
No,
I don't know them.
Chop chop. What you got?
it's the Ravens.
It's the Ravens. It's the Baltimore
Oh,
Ravens.
okay.
Oh
So
no,
their
we
band
have
goes-
to have a band then.
It,
You know,
it makes
we're already-
it makes sense. Homo go music band. It makes sense.
Yeah.
However,
No, no. Dev.
there are several
DC
organizations that
is
have
the
drum
home of go-go music. Baltimore is a home of nothing.
house music.
Nah, I mean, it's,
There you go.
True,
DMV
yeah. Baltimore played a lot in house music, but
the
New
DMV is
York had a
all
lot to do with that too.
the DMV is all together on things, though, man. I mean,
No, we're not.
DMV is the Beltway. That's it.
I'm telling you,
Beltway.
the DMV stopped somewhere around Arundel Mills,
Yes.
going north, and
Laurel.
somewhere around Potomac Mills going south.
Yeah, Woodbridge.
So
There
if
you go.
don't put in that parameter, you're not from the
If you're-
DMV.
No.
Let me tell you something. If you're going up I-95, once you pass Laurel, you are no longer in the DMV. You are in Baltimore territory.
Yeah. So Rodney knew the answer. He's our other co-host and the founder of the Washington Football Addicts. Couldn't join us tonight. He's on vacation. Shout out to Rod. He knew it was the Ravens. But so Chops, I got another question for you. So I used to be a season ticket holder. So I had him in our family. I didn't actually actively use him until about 2010 when I moved back to the area from New York because I was in the military. But why does the band only after they score, the band played the field goals, and I think the loudspeakers or whatever played the touchdowns? Am I wrong, or that's how they had it set up?
No. Back in probably about 2012,
Yep.
It was somebody's decision to have canned music after touchdown.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so the band was like, we're going to play anyway.
And y'all did.
So,
Y'all were
y'all
right
did.
above me. I was in
Yeah.
214, and y'all were right above me.
right. So we started syncing when we started syncing when they were starting. We started at the same time.
Okay.
And I think that was another Bruce Allen decision. I don't know why they did that. I don't know if it was for commercialism or what, but it was no reason to have the pre-recorded music. Oh, and the bad thing is, we recorded the damn music.
right.
So they just
We-
played your recorded music
Right.
on the
We
loudspeaker.
sat in FedEx one day, past 10:30 at night, playing it so we
Man,
get
y'all
it
need-
absolutely right.
Y'all need to get Distro Kid or something, man.
See,
They had the recording studio in there, all the microphones, everything had to be extra quiet, and they recorded us playing "Hail to the Redskins" only to have it played through loud system, which I think was totally dumb.
It's disrespectful.
Was it
That's what it was.
was it around the time that they put in those screens on either end of the field? Was it something where that way they could make sure like the words on the screen synced up with the music? In case
I
the
think
band
that's
played a
right.
half beat too slow or half beat too fast for whatever reason.
I think that's what it is. But what happened is, I think that's what it was. But what happened is the tapes that they used started getting old, or whatever they used started getting old. And if you really listen, when they play "Hail to the Redskins," it lags, and it's not because of
Yeah.
the band, it's because of whatever system, whatever the device they're using to play it. I think it's a
They
tape.
Didn't even well, and they recorded it in 2012 and didn't even digitally master the tape that they used.
I can't remember exactly when it was, but I'm gonna say around 2012 is when whatever they put on the screen.
Insane. See, but that's the Bruce Allen era. We cheap out on everything. You know. That,
Yeah.
and
I
you see,
mean,
that's why the band needs to come back.
Say
If
what
we
you want to say
eliminate
about
the band,
Allen.
we're only continuing the work
Yeah,
that
but-
Bruce Allen was
Say
trying to
what you
do.
want. Say what you want to say about Allen. He didn't stop the band from playing.
He
Well-
reduced their role. We talked about that before you came on, Dev.
Oh, okay.
He took away a bunch of their parking spaces, everything.
Yeah, parking was gone. Okay, Larry Michael was in charge of the band, and he Okay, it went from Eric Summers and Tony Cardenas, who reported to Larry Michael,
Mm-hmm.
who reported to Bruce Allen,
Right.
straight to the top. That's where it went. That was the hierarchy we had to follow. I'm gonna tell you the only thing I see good about this the current way that the Redskins is going is that you can tell that Daniel Snyder's not in charge because
Yeah.
Daniel Snyder loves the band. He absolutely loves the band. It's one of his favorite things about the team is the band, and that let me know that he's no longer running the show. Even before they got in trouble with the cheerleader squad and all that stuff that was going on.
We're gonna talk about that here shortly.
Well, hey, but even before then, that's when you knew that he was no longer running day-to-day operations around the Redskins.
Yes. And Justin Sawyer once again commented, it's all Bruce Allen's fault. That's what we're trying to say. That's what I was trying to get Chop Chop to say without actually saying it. We were trying to correlate these actions that happened with timelines and when certain people were in charge. And it sounds like all these actions that were made that kind of slowly took you guys one step backwards. Bruce was running the show. And that's all we've been saying from day one is Bruce. I mean, we're glad he's gone, but he did damage, not just with you guys, but with players.
But think of it this, think of it this way: by getting rid of the band, you're only finishing what Bruce Allen was already pushing out the door.
Yes,
we need to reverse anything like that Bruce Allen did. We need to reverse course from. Reversing course means we put that band back front and center.
And I know you have
this is what Bruce Allen's doing though. This is the new guy's doing.
Right. And
it's just continuing what he had started is what I'm saying.
Your uniforms, you have the logo. We get it, but why not? I mean, so your uniforms, did the team pay for the uniforms? Like how do y'all get uniforms?
No, the uniforms are paid for by the team.
Yeah, so I don't know why they can't just give you plain Jane burgundy and gold uniforms with the W on the side, call it a day. Like I don't know what the deal is.
That's what was suggested. Because we know that to get uniforms for a 150-piece marching band is somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000, depending on how elaborate they are.
Right.
And we understand that it's not a cheap thing, but I think what they're trying to, and I'm trying to get out. My car's about to flood over there where I was.
Yeah.
I'm in DC around 3rd and R, and floods around there. But we know it's expensive. That's why we volunteered. The band management volunteered. We could wear. I don't know if you ever seen the band in the summertime. We do not wear full uniforms. We wear polo shirts, black pants, and black shoes. We volunteered to do that. It still was a no-go. Now I don't know if it's a cost thing, as far as the uniforms, or if the logo, what the team will be eventually called. But I didn't see a problem with us wearing the W's on a polo shirt. I didn't see a problem with that, and we wanted to do that, but still it was shot down.
Right. No, that's So I'm not saying that we have power, but we are in a network of other content creators, podcast channels, where many people are chosen as fan ambassadors. So this is definitely a huge deal, and I believe we're the first ones to break out this information about the band going the way they're going. So you best believe that the message is going to get out. I will assure you, I promise you. The message is going to get out. You no doubt, 100%. I just want to give you my word.
To be official, I'm officially retired from the Redskins marching band.
Okay.
This was going to be, last year was going to be my 20th year in the band, and that's when I was going to quit. But I'm officially retired, so nobody can do anything to me. They can't say, why'd you say this? Why'd you say that?
Yeah.
I'm tired. Only thing I really care about is my ring, but hey. Yeah. But there are, in the Redskins marching band, there's 150 members. 98% of them have went to college and played on the college level. There are probably about 50 or 60 band directors in the marching band. Probably another 20 that were band directors at one point. And I don't know if they're going to go away with the fight song, But whatever nickname they're going to use, you can still use the current song with the nickname.
Yeah.
Right, you can figure it out. Yeah.
I just
You know, but 1937. Even if you don't want to play, if you want to wait till you get a team name to get a new song, fine. The band still plays in between. Like the band's the band. They can play whatever. They can keep us going in between commercial breaks. They can keep us going on, like, you know, at halftime. Like the band can do more than just play the team fight song. You know what I'm saying? There's so much more the band can do.
well,
That's what
that
I love
started.
about being there.
Well, that started with them trying to make more money with everything that they did.
Yeah.
They would that started with them. Okay, I don't know if you noticed at the end of the game, but the Redskins, we couldn't play and even if we won the game, we couldn't play until after they did the advertising spiel. And then before we came on, we never had a sponsor. Then all of a sudden, the band is sponsored by Nathan's Hot Dogs. I mean, we never had that before. We never had that. So
y'all just found out. Y'all just found out through a commercial, huh?
Right. And then they'll say, they have a script for every game. They say, okay, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen at 2:22. This is gonna happen at 3:33 and 4:15. They had a script, and so they'll say, okay, the band's gonna play at 1:14. We get ready to play, and the announcer's reading this long advertisement from AT&T, and we're ready to play. And they say, oh, never mind, the advertisement took too long. So that's why you've seen a big drop in the band playing, because when we were supposed to play, they decided to sell that space for advertising. And so that's why over the years, it may look like we were insignificant. That's because they changed the way things were. They were trying to make money on every single thing. And I don't know if that's a Dan Snyder thing. I don't know if that was a Bruce Allen thing, but everything became about, oh, let's make money here. Let's make money here. Let's make money here. And that's why the band, we didn't play as much. Because we have 60 songs that we play at the drop of a dime. We can give you a 2-hour concert if we wanted to.
Yeah. Man. So let me ask you this. Do you have, so we know Redskins is going away. Do you personally have a name that you're, favorable to?
I think it should be the Red Wolves. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Number one.
I felt Phil's head blow up.
I don't mind the Red Wolves either. It's easy for good team identity. It's easy.
I'm going to tell you why it should be Red Wolves. Number one, Red Wolves are native to the Mid-Atlantic region.
Okay.
Not for over a century.
Okay, that was then. Okay.
These are the Dragons, man, but they're cool.
Exactly. The Red Wolves are native to this area, and two, the Native Americans and the wolf. The Native Americans and the wolf kind of intertwine with each other. The wolf is a big thing in Native American culture, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I know all about Native American culture because I don't. But from what I've seen, that the wolf is part of their culture, and I think it'll be a good transition from going from a Native American to a wolf. It's a lot so you can get a lot out of that. Plus, you still get to keep HTPR. You can say hell to the Redskins, bite for ODC. I mean, it's a lot of ways you can spend that. Yeah. So I think it should be the Red Wolves, but
I think it should be the Ninja. I think it should be the Ninjas. Or
you know what? That's exactly what the kind of thinking that this organization probably do. They're like,
ninjas are cool. Who don't like ninjas or cobras or snakes or something? There ain't no snakes, are there? Like, Washington Red Cobras.
Yeah, but I'm just so afraid that they're gonna drop the ball with the renaming.
It's gonna be the Wizards.
If they want to make money off the bat, if they want to really make money off the fan base, if you name the team the Red Wolves, I guarantee you all of those jerseys, hats, gloves, scarves, shoes, everything would fly off the shelf.
Doesn't that same guy own the Red Wolves?
The Warriors or the Aardvarks? It's not. It's gonna be a sad day in DC. I'm telling you.
Don't the same guy own the Red Wolves though? The name?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he owns a lot of names, and I think that's what's keeping it up. They don't want to break him that money, but they got to think whatever they pay that guy, they're going to get it back within the first month.
I own the rights to the fantasy football team, the Washington Fast Black. So if y'all want to use that, you know what I'm saying? It's free. I own the rights to it.
Yeah, it's
Make it
gonna be.
happen.
Yeah, just like Redskins, it's gonna be a lot of people that's going to be at odds with that name.
Yeah.
I don't think that name's going to fly right.
As an honorary black person, I'm cool with it.
Phil particularly hates the Red Wolves, and we have a couple of people in our Facebook group. I know you're new to the group shop, but we have a couple of people in a Facebook group that are for Red Wolves and adamantly against the Red Wolves. So it's just a funny banter inside joke that some people are like it'll never happen, other people want it to happen. So the Red Wolves name is very sensitive in our Facebook group of 6,200 people. It's funny, but it's just a funny thing that I don't know if you knew the inside joke, but.
Nah, but I'm gonna tell you, Red Wolves is one of the leading names in the band too. So
yeah, is it?
But we don't have any input, so but
yeah.
What's your second choice? Wow, so it's Red Wolves or nothing then. I'm just doing it to mess with Phil, man.
Maybe Warriors.
I don't like the Warriors. When you think of Warriors, I automatically think of basketball every time. I don't even think of
yeah.
I don't even think of football.
I think that'll be a problem with naming them the Warriors.
Right.
Because you got the wherever the hell the Warriors are.
We're probably the Warlocks since where I got the Wizards over there, right? Do something dumb, man.
Let me tell you something. All right, I was a Bullets fan. I'm a Wizards fan, but let me tell you something. The name Wizards just does not inspire me the way Bullets did. And if we go with Red Wolves, it's going to be the same thing. It's just going to be like a little piece of me.
What do you prefer?
There's a few names that have flown out there. I personally vouch to go with Freedom just because it's a great concept. It's timely. It means something to everybody. Whether you want to go to the founding of the country, you want to go to what people are fighting for and protesting for now, freedom is a universal concept, right? And I think that you can do all kinds of dope concepts with that.
I feel like that would involve color changes.
Star Spangled the shit out of his team and call us America's team and steal that from Dallas.
Now, I don't want no blue on my uniform, bro.
We owe them. Remember, we had Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys exist because they stole "Hail to the Redskins."
Yeah,
they purchased it from the guy who wrote it.
You know, it'd be funny if Dallas hired all the band members and played the song "Hail to Dallas" or some shit. That'd be real.
Rod's troll level is up there. I mean, let me tell you, Rod's doing his thing right now in the troll game.
Rod, my second car was an '87 Ford Tempo. Damn it!
But this right here, this is Justin Sawyer again. He's right. It would be perfect if you could keep the HTTR somehow, like Chop said.
The only R name that I've seen that I
don't say it.
I liked some of the concepts.
Don't say Revolution.
Revolution.
I liked Revolution. It's not my number one, but I liked some of the concepts, and I can visualize that. My only problem with Revolution is that it's 4 syllables coming off of a 3-syllable city name, and it just doesn't. It's too much to roll off unless you start nicknaming them the Revs or something like that.
Revolutionaries will be okay, I think.
The Revs are going to turn into the Rebs.
Ford Tempo.
Yeah, hey, that probably won't fly. You better off doing the Fast and Black thing. You name the Rebels. Nobody's gonna roll with that.
The Scholars, Rod's killing it. All right, so our last topic. So as you know, they released the results of the investigation today that Beth Wilkinson started conducting. Was it last summer? I think is when it started. If I'm not mistaken, and it kind of goes back to Justin Sawyer's comment earlier about.
I'm looking 2 of these for this one.
Dan Snyder, they made a press release shortly after, and in his press release, they talked about Washington Football Club, whatever. I don't. It could have been an error. It could have been whatever, ironic. But what the point everyone's trying to make is that everyone has an opinion. At the bottom line, at the end of the day, Dan Snyder was fined $10 million. Which isn't a lot if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, for all of the things that happened during that investigation. So the sexual harassment, the conduct of the team, the way things were running, the way they treated women, the conduct of the workplace. So the funny part was there's no report. There is a report that's not going to be released because of the sensitivity of the nature. Beth Wilkinson just did an oral report to Roger Goodell. I know that sounds awful the way I just said that, but she gave Roger Goodell a desk side verbal briefing. A desk side. Hey, come on! I'm trying to change. Listen, she gave him a voice. She gave him a
Give him a spoken report
face to face of what happened, and we saw the outfall of that with all the DC media today. They were pissed off there was no written report, and I get it. There was written reports for everything. There is a written report, but they said due to the sensitivity of the nature of the investigation, they're not going to release it. You know, me personally, I think
a lot of people
yeah.
were given confidentiality agreements.
Yeah.
And I think that there was so much intertwining that it was a matter of if they started redacting, they would have had to redact comments because it implies other people who wanted to remain confidential as well.
Yeah.
I'm
so,
gonna say,
go ahead.
I think that report had to be damaging. It had to be very damaging for Daniel Snyder, for them to say basically Daniel Snyder couldn't be involved with the day-to-day operation of the team.
I didn't take it as that they said he couldn't. When I read, he let a press he let a presser out.
The co-owner,
right? But I
vice co-CEO.
I didn't
because
take
they'd want to take the team from him.
I didn't take it.
The NFL didn't make that recommendation.
Yeah, I didn't take it as that they made that they recommended that. I took that as he did it on his own, because he also says, and he let out a presser not long ago, and it said that that she's going to handle the day-to-day. He's handling the stadium relocation and then some other stuff. So if he's banished from the team, he shouldn't be able to do that.
Well,
no, so I took
it. They knew what was going to happen ahead of time, and they probably said, "Yo, this is what you need to do right now." And I think he did that in order to save face, because I really think that they were going to take the team from him, because from some of the stuff that was alleged with the conduct of what they were doing to cheerleaders, man, in this day and age, that kind of stuff don't fly. Maybe in 1960, maybe in 1970, but in this day and age, basically, that stuff don't fly. I mean, I'm not going to say anything because I really don't know, but from what they were talking about earlier in the investigation when it started, it was a lot of inappropriate things that shouldn't have been done. I mean, in the marching band, we had one guy, older guy, who would go around telling women they look sexy. And one day it got back to band management, they let him go that day. And even though it was the band, it still had to go to Roger Goodell's office about what happened about that situation and what the actions they took. And because they acted so fast and they nipped it in the bud, nothing was done with us. So I can imagine what would happen with the allegations that was going on with the cheerleaders. And that's why they acted the way they acted. And I think Dan saved his butt by putting Tanya Snyder as the co-CEO of the Redskins.
He basically did Operation Black Shield from South Park with his wife.
Human Shield.
Let me point this out though. Nothing has ever, other than one incident that no one's been able to corroborate on a plane in 2003, there's been zero smoking guns related to Dan Snyder himself. What this was a failure of him to properly oversee what those under him were doing, namely executives. Really, it was also a failure of the executives to handle issues that were going on a much greater notice from like that middle management level. So yes, culture. This is something. This is for all those who never took a business class. Organizational culture is a top-down thing. It has to start at the top and it permeates through each level going down.
Leadership.
You rarely have strong leadership at the top and a total mess at the bottom. It starts at the top. Dan was very hands-off when it came to this stuff. He let the guys they put in place do their thing. Figured they'll handle it. These are people I hired. I'll trust them. The first mistake he made, and he's made mistake multiple times over the years, is he hired people that he trusted that didn't do what needed to be done. And a lot of that goes, even the Bruce Allen thing. When Bruce came in, remember, Dan pretty much did this. He washed his hands. He was on his yacht. He was not hands-on at all, except for he coddled RG3 because that was his pick. Other than that, Dan really was not involved. Bruce ran everything, and he trusted Bruce to his detriment. But the team was making money, and early on there was some success. I mean, we did win the division in 2012. We won it again in 2015. So there was some on the field success. So I think that Dan went, well, we're getting better. We're doing better. Okay, I'll give Bruce more authority, more power, more control, and I'll just step back. And I think that's Dan's downfall, is that he was trusting people way too much. There isn't a lot of connection between what was going on and Dan himself, other than the fact that Dan expects everyone to call him Mr. Snyder and everything else, which is why I liberally call him Dan on this podcast all the time, because I think that's a bit ridiculous.
Sure. I make $1 billion. You gonna call, and I'm your boss. You gonna call me Mr. Two? You tripping?
Yeah.
You be like Dr. Strange in there, man. Dr. Strange. You know what I'm saying?
All I wanted him to do was take responsibility, and until he published this statement, he didn't. But this is the first time he's actually claimed responsibility, which I appreciate. I'm gonna read it real quick. I've learned a lot in the past few months about how my club operated, the kind of workplace that we had. It's now clear that the culture was not what it should be, but I did not realize the extent of the problems or my role in allowing the culture to develop and continue. I know that as the owner, I am ultimately responsible for the workplace. I've said that, and I say it again. That was my big thing, is just claim responsibility. Don't pass the buck. You're a leader. That's what leaders do. You're in charge of the organization. Whether you know it or not, you're responsible for everything that does or does not happen. So when he published this statement, I was a little, I was happy that he said that. But at the end of the day, he still got, he $10 million fine. I get it. As a fan,
there wasn't enough to force him out.
No, I don't think forcing him out was ever a question.
Tell that to the media people. Tell that to some of these other bloggers and pod people and the Twitter sphere people who are screaming. I thought first of all, I put this out on Twitter and I'm putting this out here. I want an apology from Chris Russell right now, because when I told him directly that I doubted the veracity of that supposed leak that the junkies had, that said that Beth Wilkinson's recommendation was that they were going to boot Snyder out, and that didn't happen. And I said, I don't trust this because I don't think the junkies would get a leak like this. He called me an idiot. He asked me if I was stupid or just intentionally being an idiot. I argued back and forth with him. So I put it up on Twitter, and he has not responded to me, but I know he's seen it because he's been active. I want an apology because I was right.
Here's a comment for you from Jason Donaway in the chat. Thank you for joining the live stream. For the R, he said red tails for red tail hawks. Keep the colors, all the R memorabilia, all the feather memorabilia, and the red tail hawk screech is pretty cool. So that's a good suggestion too. It keeps the HTTR. When you do HTTR, you're limited in what you can do. Red wolves, red tails, red tail hawks, renegades. I don't know what else is left after that. Revolution. Sounds like a MLS soccer team, but I don't mind it at all. It is
New England.
See, that's what I'm saying. So,
right.
All right. Well, we're coming up upon an hour, and let's go ahead and shut this thing down. I personally want to thank Chop for joining us and taking the time out of his day to sit down and talk about the team, talk about what's going on. We truly appreciate it. We thank you, and
thank you for all the band playing. Every one of those games I went to, from my first one in January of '92 up until the last one I went to in 2017. Thank you. I always loved the band experience there. I always thought it gave us a unique flavor. I loved it.
Right.
Yeah. And so at the last part of our we just go around the horn. let's give our shout outs. So I'll start with our guest. Chop Chop. Do you have any shout outs you want to give to anybody? Doesn't matter, band, team, whatever. Who you shouting out tonight, bro?
Shout out to my crew, the Locker Room crew. Shout out to Miss Missy. Shout out to my cousin Ed, and shout out to the entire Washington Redskins marching band organization. Mr. Summers, Mr. Cardenas, Mr. Green. They make that thing work. Thank you.
All right. Dev, who you got?
Shout out to the band, man. Let's bring the band back, man. That's crazy. I can't. It's gonna be hard to believe a loud crowd there without the band. Hell, if you're can you bring stuff in the stadium? Everybody bring your horns and shit. You know, be your own band until they get them back. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's crazy. But shout out to the band. Whatever.
All right, Phil,
Steve sees it.
What? I missed it.
Oh, wait. Hold up. Bam!
Shout out to fake Chris Russell. Okay. Shout out to the band. When I get an opportunity to meet with Joey and meet with the other people in guest relations and so forth, I am going to fight to bring the band back. It needs to happen. Shout out
bring the band back.
Shout out to the real Chris Russell. You owe me an apology.
Is this the real Chris Russell?
Shout out to. It's not the real Chris Russell. If it is,
it's on the YouTube live stream. I don't know. It's not Facebook. It could
be Chris, man.
If it's the real Chris Russell, then
might be his cousin Antoine.
He's just admitting that he's not going to apologize because he's not big enough to do it.
Love him.
And by the way, my head is more dome shaped than block shaped. Thank you very much.
Well, shout out to Rod. Shout out to everyone who joined the live stream tonight. I know we didn't get much notice. Jason Donaway, Justin Sawyer, Greg Delaney. Appreciate you coming out. Shout out to Chop Chop, my boy Scooter. We're bros in the DC motorcycle community. I do want to give a shout out to him because this man is always doing things for the community, specifically in the charity realm, whatever has to do. He's always trying to give back to the community. So shout out to him. I really do appreciate what he does. He organizes kickball tournaments, fed the homeless. We fed the homeless together. I want to say 2019 before COVID and Thanksgiving. He's always doing work in the DC community. He's a great asset, retired band member. You heard it here first. We're so thankful that you joined us tonight, and thank you for your time. And for those who get this, I know that we didn't get many people live, but you're gonna hear us on the back end. Make the argument. Whoever, if you know your fan ambassador, reach out. Let's talk about. Let's bring this to the table. Let's get the band back into the conversation. And it's been with the team since 1937. So let's just not brush that aside. That's a huge deal. Let's get these guys back into the game, some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
Let's figure it out. That's all I'm saying. Doesn't matter how. Let's figure it out. Let's get them involved. And with that closing comment, Chrome Dome, I guess that's Phil's new name.
I wish
Chrome
that
Dome.
was. I know it's not, but I wish it was Chris Russell because I'd love to throw hands.
Hey, it's popping up in the comments. I'm just posting it. You're Chrome Dome now, so I guess human computer.
Chrome Dome.
All right. Well, hey, Chop Chop, thanks for joining us, bro. We appreciate it. This will be posted on all your major podcast platforms and now on YouTube as well. So thanks for joining us. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Hey, Chop Chop, thanks for coming in.